The book is entitled Square One on Amazon.com, if you'd like it. Great gift, great gift. I really, my amygdala and my hippocampus is simply overwhelmed by all of the emotions that I'm feeling with everybody here, you know, friends, brothers, family. And when I look back over my own life, I think of the most important people in my life, my father, my mother, of course, and Peter. And the story with Peter is one that it's actually the alpha and the omega in terms of the department. And I was thinking on what my comments would be, and I recalled 2 or 3 years ago, I was invited to be the team physician, if you would, with a group of differently enabled athletes who were going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And these differently enabled, not disabled athletes, 3 of them had 1 leg, 1 had 1 arm, and 1 had no legs and 1 arm, and 1 had no arms. And these were differently enabled, but not disabled. And we spent 5 days climbing over the boulders from the rainforest to the alpine desert, through the moorlands to the very summit. And I think, Alan, you also, I think, climbed the mountain at one time, so you know what I'm talking about. And we got to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, and in the distance you can see the Serengeti Plain. This side is Kenya, this side's Tanzania, and you look down and you see the trails, the boulders, where you slipped and had to get up. And I saw these guys. I complained of blisters, and when they took off their prosthesis was full of blood. Always happy, always laughing, always joking. But where I'm getting to is I feel I clearly am at the summit. I'm clearly deep in the 4th quarter. I'm very aware that breath may become air sooner than I want, like Paul Kamenethi, the resident from Stanford, wrote about. And that's why I have Brian Jankowitz on my speed dial. If something happens, Brian, quick, get that catheter in. So I know where I am. I'm very aware of it, but I also have this incredible view. And when I see Dade and Paul and Elad and all the residents and all the faculty with whom I interacted, I can't help but remember that, as I said last night, that serendipitous meeting I had with Peter Jannetta in Zurich in 1968 at the first International Congress of Microneurosurgery hosted by Ghazi Yassergil. And Peter and I met at a welcoming party, and what you know, Peter is a triple threat guy. He's an academician, he's a superb clinician, and he's also a researcher. But he also was a triple threat in another way. He played lacrosse, he swam, and he played football in college. And General MacArthur had a great quote. He said, "On the fields of friendly strife are sown the seeds that on other days and on other fields will lead to victory." And it was on the fields of friendly strife, I'm sure, that contributed markedly to Peter's sense of camaraderie, his knowledge of teamwork, his leadership ability, his ability to push as hard as he could and make others emulate his own characteristics, which, you know, when I listen to the phenomenal accomplishments of the people in this room who presented this morning and the technological feats that you are all creating, it's like Somerset Maugham. He said, "The meaning of life lies in what one wills to create. Meaning is in creativity." And this is I'm humbled and honored. This is probably the most creative group of individuals I've ever been associated with. And we're all family. And Peter has been our titular, not genetic, but in our neurosurgically genetic father for all of us. And we're so appreciative. When I first came, he and I were the first 2 micro neurosurgeons in the state of Pennsylvania. So everything we did was new. And, from pituitaries, EC bypasses, everything we did, disc surgery. And it was such the fervor to wave the banner for Pittsburgh at meetings, international. We held conferences just like Paul does with Carl on micronerve decompression in the posterior fossa. We had individuals like Rudy come from all over the world where on closed circuit TV, just like they do today, Peter would operate, I would narrate, or I would operate and he would narrate. And, it was just such a vibrant, dynamic, growing, exciting environment that we all contribute to his publications of over 400. We all pushed ourselves to the very limit, and we all excelled in one way or another. So for me to stand here and look down the mountain at what everyone else has accomplished and to be part of this is just one of the most, it is the most gratifying thing of certainly in my professional and personal existence. But there's one story that very few of you know that I'll finish with. And after 12 years with Peter and Dade sticking me every day with his criticisms and his comments and his jabs and helping me be a better person all the time. Just kidding, Dade. I was offered the job at Allegheny General Hospital. Donnie Becker, one of Peter's friends, was asked to look and make a recommendation. Who should we hire as chairman at Allegheny? And they asked me to be the chairman, and I said, Peter, I went into Peter, and I said, Peter, look, I don't want to leave the department. Let me go over there, be chair of the department there, and all the revenues, everything, just another hospital. Let's do it that way. And I remember, like we all remember these scenes so well, he kind of sat back in his chair and he said, Joe, look, Allegheny's a small community hospital. It's a dead end. Academically, you'll never amount to anything there. And I just don't think you should go. Well, I mean, your mentor, your teacher, your father tells you that, and you say, oh my God, is it that bad? When I looked at it and talked to everybody, I just didn't see that picture. Well, I ended up going, and I took Parvis Begay and Jack Wilberger both joined me. We started the new Department of Neurosurgery there, and we actually did pretty well. I tried to recruit Dave, but he was wise enough not to come, and Dr. Joe a couple of times came back and forth, and then after 14 or so years there, it was like being on the Titanic. AGH hit an iceberg financially, it went bankrupt, and Pitt asked me to come back. So I called Peter. Peter, they've asked me to come back to the university, but I don't want to come back without talking to you first. Should I come back? God damn it, Joe, you should never have left. And that's not where the story ends. So I was in my office at Presby about 6 months to a year after I returned, and he said, Joe, I'd like to talk to you. I said, sure, Peter, come on in. And I sat behind my desk this time. And he said, you know, you're pretty familiar with Allegheny General, and they may be an offer over here. And I'm thinking of going. What do you think of that? I said, Peter, he had no recollection. I said, Peter, you know, it's a community hospital. And I said, I'm not sure where you're going to go there, and it may be a dead end for you academically. But anyway, he went and in his own inimitable way recruited premier fellows and contributed to another great department. But thank you all, and thank you, Robert and Dave, for putting this together for us. It's a great honor to be here, and I appreciate it.